Alright lads and lasses, I'm Xcentric Racer, and today we are doing Borrows Community on Forza 7 this time. Yeah, we managed to get enough people together and we did it on Forza 7. For the first one, we did A-class hatchbacks, however, every single car was rear-wheel drive, either stock or converted. Yes, there was an Escort, that's not really a hatchback, but shush. First race, we went to Bathurst. The BMW and the Escort had a little bit of a coming together. They lost a bit of time, lost a few positions. However, it wasn't too bad. I went with the Mugen CRX, and it turned out to be very bloody good. A bit sketchy to drive. Over crests, it liked to lose the back end. The wooden CRX, that's for some reason kicking up a lot of tyre smoke, ignore the replays, was very quick through the corners, dived up the inside. I was not expecting that at all. That's a very impressive overtake, especially from that far back. It didn't quite clatter the tyre bundles. I was stuck in the outside, tried to go around the inside. Just had a little bit of a coming together, clipped the wall, however, it was okay. I then brake and hit the wall, thankfully. Only tapped the back of him, but didn't spin him out, which was all good. Coming down the straight, my CRX had the speed. It was not the fastest this evening, but was the second fastest. You can see I'm not dropping the wooden one, but I'm getting distance. Through the very fast right-hander, it was a bit scary. Through the chicane, it did gain a little bit of time on me. However, the run to the final corner just allowed me to make a little bit of gap. I did brake a bit late, missed the turning point. The wooden one stuck a wheel in the grass. That gave me ample time. And the thing about Bathurst, there's two very long straights. Very handy for my CRX to make up time. And as you can see, compared to the wooden one, I was just flying away from it. In the background you can see the grey BMW. That was the fastest car down the straights out of all of us. Unfortunately for this one, there wasn't really too much close racing. It's a bit of a shame, but there was only 6 of us. I get a big slide coming through that hairpin. I get another one the corner after. Yeah, it wasn't particularly easy to drive this car. Coming up now to the top of the course. The back, you can see the back end just stepping out a little bit on mine. The wooden CRX stepping out just as much, if not more. And now we're coming to the downhill section. You can see how good the wooden one is through the corners. Does clatter the wall a smidge. Is out of line for the next couple of corners. And just those mistakes, it's more than enough for me to just gain time. And I just ran away at the front, to be honest. There wasn't much fighting going on, and especially if others are making mistakes, you can just run away at the front. Like I said, this was one of the fastest cars down the straights. Looking at the wooden CRX, you can see how much of a gap I've managed to pull. It gets a little bit of sideways action from around the final corner. The BMW behind was starting to gain on it. The BMW obviously much faster down the straights. The wooden CRX much better through the corners. Yeah, this evening was actually a lot of fun to do. I mean, you can see how much time that BMW has gained just down the straight. The back end of the CRX just wiggling a little bit. And however, it turned in just a bit too early. The front just got snagged on the wall and spun out and lost 2 positions. The BMW did a very good job actually of avoiding the CRX. That would have been a bit of a hefty crash. And now it just spent its time just recovering from that spin. And it gets a lot of oversteer through that bit. Now it was probably going to battle with the Escort, however the Escort just ran wide. Easy pickings for the very good handling CRX. And has a bit of wall crashing. And to be honest, this was probably the closest race. Closest battle, sorry, for this race. The Escort and the CRX. Mine was just absolutely gone at this point. The grey BMW wasn't gaining on me. Because my car was just significantly faster. You can see it there, just going through the S's, well, the chicanes really. The Escort did have a bit more speed down the straights than the CRX, and it wasn't too bad around the corners as well. For some reason it goes into ghost mode. The wooden car misses its braking point. The Escort gets a very good run. Looks to the inside. The CRX can just brake that bit later. Misses the apex a little bit. That just allows the Escort, with its superior straight line speed, just to fly past. However, there is corners here, and the top of the track is kind of twisty. So you can see under the brakes that the CRX has started to make all of its time back up. It was now looking all over the place. The Escort braked earlier than it was expecting. Just gave it a hurry up bump. I'll say a bump, it's more of a shunt. The Escort gets a bit of a slide. However, it's still in the CRX's way. It's kind of tricky to overtake up here, especially when the cars aren't the easiest to drive. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, to try and look at the inside. The Escort though still has a good enough run at the CRX, can't overtake it. It's on its rear bumper, just looking everywhere, trying to get an overtake, clatters the wall again. And this was really exciting. It was a great race emerging. However, a sticky out bit of wall would just clatter the wooden CRX, and unfortunately that would be the end of that battle. At the front, my CRX just was untouched. It got away at the start. I didn't make any mistakes, and it was just phenomenally quick. I think it was at least 3 seconds faster than the BMW. So in race 1, I would take victory. Significant Yeet would take second place in the grey BMW 3 Series, and oops, sorry. I'm having a massive brain fart here. And Acted Globe would take third in the Escort. I do apologise. For our second race, we went to Road Atlanta Short. The pink Peugeot decided to go with the BMW himself. The Peugeots were crap. There was a bit of a lag. The wooden CRX, the Med Peugeot was doing a bit of rallycrossing. You can see, well, you can't really see, but you could guess, the wooden CRX lagged forward, punted the grey BMW, did a very good job of catching the oversteer, and then it lagged out. So, yeah, he was having a little bit of connection issues. BMW, the pink one that is, getting a little bit of oversteer coming onto the back straight. That just allowed the grey BMW to just fly away. It was in clean air. I have a big dive up the inside. The BMW goes for a cutback. However, I'm still on the inside. The BMW runs wide, gets wheels on the grass. I then run even wider, trying to catch oversteer. The Escort's up the inside. I was trying to stay out of the way, and unfortunately, the pink BM got boxed in. It had a very good run, however, there was a slow-moving me where it needed to be. I then go around the outside of the Escort. The BMW does a very nice cutback, actually. The Escort just runs that bit wide. The BMW can just easily get past, and would now spend nearly all of the race with my CRX. Us two were having a fantastic battle. At this point, the Escort would just fall back, and the grey BMW there, that you can see, would start getting away, whilst me and the pink BM were fighting amongst ourselves over the crest, and you can see how much I'm fighting the car to keep it under control. BMW tries to look for a way around, just runs that smidge wide, and I've just got the better acceleration and top end. Now I can keep ahead on the run up to the first corner. Through the the corner speed that BMW had, like the brakes as well, it was incredible how quick that car was through the corners. Again, there's just more of them short wheelbase rear wheel drive twitches. I mean, all of us here had a good amount of power. I think I had the least with about 340. This pink BM had about 380. I can't remember off the top of my head. But under brakes, it was phenomenal. It really was. All the time that I would lose down the back straight and through the S's, it would gain through the heavy braking zone at the end of the straight. However, it still struggled to find a way past. It did run a bit wide on the final corner. Again, you can see both of us just wiggling around, trying to keep the car under wraps. I run a little bit wide to then get a kick of oversteer. This isn't what I needed. Now, whilst I was racing, I was not expecting the brakes on the BMW, but you can see how much time it gained. Like, we were a good, I think it was about a second apart, but under brakes it caught up. I had a bit of a twitch that turned into a massive oversteer moment. I clotted the wall a little bit. I didn't take damage, however the BMW would just say thank you very much, and you just get a really nice overtake around the inside. So now it was my turn to fight for a way past, and I knew where my car was stronger, and I knew where this car was stronger. All I really wanted to do was not get the back end kicking out. I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think I did that long right-hander without oversteering. I missed my braking point a bit, clattered the back of the BMW. That's on me. However, I try and go around the outside, and it was pretty terrifying, I will admit. Two very twitchy vehicles racing very closely around bumps. It can get a bit lively. I do go around the outside, however, I'm still around the outside. The BMW, with its superior brakes, can just throw up the inside. However, I'm still there, and I'm still on the outside, around the very fast right-hander. I do have to yield because of the BMW's superior handling. However, I am much closer to the back of it. Again, round that final corner, you can guess what I did. However, this was huge amounts of fun. Huge amounts of fun. BMW gets a pretty good run. Does get a huge amount of oversteer. That means it's very slow for round the final corner. I can then just do a cutback, and with my superior straight line speed, could just keep it up the inside. I did go a little bit on the defensive. I didn't go fully defensive though. I knew how quick that BMW was around the corner. Tried to do a cutback on me, just bobbled the curb, got a bit of oversteer, and that just allowed me to keep my lead. It ran very wide through the S's, did a little bit of mowing. I really should have said lawn mowing. However, you've heard me go on about the brakes, and yeah, you can see how much later it's braking and how much it's caught up through the chicane. Now, I ran wide, put wheels on the grass, so my hard work of overtaking the BMW has then become undone. However, you can just see how much more speed I've got. I can keep up the inside, I can place it up the inside, keep it up the inside, and just get the better run up the hill. And I don't really need to defend. The BMW was thereabouts. It was looking around the outside. It's a very brave place. Did yield, because if it didn't, we would have had a collision. I can tell you that much. I then do a repeat. It's a running theme in this race. I must get oversteer at that corner. I thought I was far enough ahead. The BMW gets a really nice overtake up the inside. However, it was a little bit trying to think of the word here. I can't think of it. It was a little bit slow. It just allowed me to fire up the inside. I get a very good run. Again, get a kick of oversteer around the final corner. Thankfully, I didn't lose too much time. Now, whilst in the battle, we were catching up to a backmarker Peugeot. Caught it at a pretty bad time, to be honest. It's pretty tricky to try and move out the way. The Peugeot this time gets a huge amount of oversteer, and the BMW decides it wants to use that for draft. It was short-lived. The Peugeot did a whoops and missed the corner completely. And I'm pretty sure had a spin. However, our race would eventually come to an end. It just ran that bit too wide, clattered the tyre bundle, and all that hard work that it did just came undone. It was a shame. It was a huge amount of fun, that little race we had. It was incredible, man. Really was. It was a shame that it just ended like that. Because that battle was, what, 10 laps? Also ignore the screen going dark. Yeah, it's idling. However, if I move the thing, it just brings that up. So it's a bit frustrating. However, now that I'm in clean air, you can see how much of a gap I've started to close on that grey BMW. Speaking of the grey BMW, this was coming up to, I think this was on the penultimate lap, coming up to the final lap. Gets a little bit of oversteer through the final corner. However, you can hear in the background my CRX. Once I was released from that battle, my CRX absolutely flew. I was gaining so much time on the grey BMW. Like for all this race, it just managed to run away and just run its own race. Me and the pink BMW, I think, were starting to gain, even in our battles. But once I was released, I was seriously pushing the CRX. And I was massively catching up. You can see how close the gap has become. However, it was too little, too late. The BMW, the grey one, just had a good enough run and would take the win. I would have to settle for second, while Millennium One would take third in the pink BMW. And for our final race of the evening, we'd head to Circuit of the Americas GP. In night. Through the first corner, I started at the back, immediately got into second around the first corner. That meant I was stuck around the outside of the superior handling CRX. And coming down the S's, it wasn't very easy in the CRX. I somehow get a very good run, overtake the CRX around the outside. The wooden one gets a little bit of a twitch. It happens. That allowed the grey BMW to start fighting back. Looked up the inside, couldn't quite do it. The CRX, the wooden one with its superior handling, could just stay ahead. However, the BMW wasn't quite out of it, because we had this very long back straight. In fact, you could see the BMW was looking around the inside of the wooden CRX. Couldn't quite do it. However, it didn't need to worry. And yeah, it would get the overtake down the back straight. The pink BMW would also join in this fight. Whilst these three were fighting, I managed to pull a little bit of a gap. The BMW did a very nice cut back there. That was really well done. Yeah, whilst those two were fighting, you can see the corner speed of the CRX. It's going around the outside around there. I mean, that's really impressive. However, the pink BMW just sees the opportunity, throws it up the inside and gets two in one braking zone. The CRX was hung wide to dry. However, that didn't matter. It did get out-dragged by these two. I think, yeah, again, I couldn't tell whether that was lag or the grey BMW braked a lot earlier than it was expecting. It was on round the outside, coming up against the pink BMW. The grey one, I saw that. No, sorry, that was the... I don't even know anymore. I couldn't tell whether the grey or the pink one did some shortcutting. However, the CRX is still round the outside and is just trying to regain its position. I have a bit of a spin and put it in reverse. However, because these three were fighting, I could still keep the lead. The pink BMW would scythe it up the inside Gets a little bit of oversteer over the curb, however is still on the inside. And does a very nice overtake there. And because it has a straight line compared to the CRX, it could just run away a little bit. Yeah, and this was a very good battle actually. Because of my spin out, I then had to worry about the grey BMW. The pink one gets a bit of oversteer, unfortunately has the same steering twitch, and clatters the size of the CRX, and does a very good job of avoiding collecting the Escort. Yeah, sim steering does that. So whilst those two had a bit of a coming together, the grey BMW would then just focus on trying to catch my CRX actually. The grey BMW, like I said, is the fastest down the straight. And it wasn't actually terrible through the corners either. My CRX, I think, was a smidge better. But the initial acceleration helped it out tenfold. It could just get out of the corners much better than the grey BMW. It was a bit more stable than mine. Going over the curbs in my little CRX was terrifying because the car weighed about 1,800 pounds at about 300 and had 340 horsepower. So it was twitchy. But you can see how much of a gap I could pull. The pink BMW, after trying to recover from its spin out, then ended up battling with the Ford Escort. The Escort was actually quicker than the BMW. The BMW threw it round the outside, unfortunately. Just got a kick of oversteer. If it managed to keep it under wraps, that could have been a very impressive overtake. However, it did lose a bit of time on that Escort, but it would catch up. You can see how much through, I don't know what you'd call that corner. Probably like the triple apex, right-hander. But under brakes, you can just see it had a kick of oversteer, and it's immediately behind the Escort under brakes. The Escort would go defensive, would move across. The BMW tried, but knew that it was a closing gap, so just decided to go around the outside. The Escort does get stopped for the corner, and would get the inside for this next corner. But we're coming down to the S's, and the pink BMW would throw up the inside, couldn't quite make it, would yield, because there would be a crash. However, the Escort runs a bit wide. However, the BMW was too far back, actually ends up bumping the Escort because of just the superior brakes. Looked at the inside, couldn't quite do it again, and the Escort was successfully defending it. The BMW would look everywhere, inside, outside, wherever. Now, this grey BMW would have a spin, and then a second later, I would have a spin. He recovered a bit better than me. I dropped down a third. However, because of our two spins, the wooden CRX then actually started, well, gained a position, and was now back in the fray for the lead. You can just see three completely different lines there, with three completely different cars. BMW, the straight line speed car. The wooden CRX, the handling car. My Mugen CRX, kind of the all-around car. However, it was very good everywhere. I actually had a very good run through here. I was starting to get used to the BMW. Gets corner cuts a bit. The wooden CRX kicks its back end out. I would still get a very good run, even through the final corner. Back to the Escort versus Pink BM. The BMW would get the overtake. In fact, you can see around the first corner how close us three for the lead were fighting. But between these two, this was after the Pink BM had a spin and caught up to the Escort. These two just stayed with each other. The Pink BMW was the faster car and would actually end up getting the fastest lap of the race. This race was hella exciting. This was really good fun. You can see through the S's the gap the BMW could make with its superior handling. And I managed to overtake the wooden CRX. Both of us pulled a gap on it. The BMW missed its braking point, got sideways, tried to catch it, so tank slapped it a little bit. And this was on the final lap. So all I needed to do was just get around the final couple of corners. BMW tried to look up the inside, was just too far back. The wooden CRX finds a new racing line. However, you can see with just my better run how much of a gap I had. And there was just 2 corners left. Round the corner, the wooden CRX runs very wide. Just round the final corner, and that was it. All I had to do was make it on the straight. Unfortunately, I had sim steering tank slapper, and my back wheel would go in the grass. I'd then bin it, and it would crash into a wall. It was a shame. Yeet would win with the grey BMW. The wooden CRX would take second, and I had to settle for third place. This was a hell of a lot of fun to do, actually, and I hope you did enjoy, and I do hope that you sign up as well. What will be happening is these will be taking place on Monday at 7 PM GMT. Obviously, there will be a rescheduling later on once we get out of these strange times. However, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to take part as well, join in the Discord. There will be a link in the description. However, that is it from me. Till next time, ciao for now.